Hey guys, welcome to Make Gains. I'm Adam Gaines, and today we're going to be talking about crazy wedding expenses. We're going to listen to some folks who talk about how much they're paying for weddings, and then we're going to have some practical tips on how you can save money and have a better marriage because of your wedding day. So let's get into it.
My wedding cost $65,000, and you're probably looking at me like I'm completely delusional. I got married in one of the most expensive states to get married in, which is surprisingly New Jersey. You're probably also wondering why I'm sharing how much money I spent on my wedding, and it's because I wish I had this information when I started planning my wedding in 2021.
We are going to end up spending $90,000 to $100,000. Please be kind to me. Please be kind to me. I am well aware that that is an absurd amount of money to be spending on a wedding. It's an absurd amount in general, but believe it or not, it's not uncommon to be paying that type of money for a wedding of my size in Southern California.
This could just be a me problem, but I recently got engaged and I feel like nobody prepared me or could have ever prepared me for how expensive a wedding or anything like bridal or related is. Like, yeah, y'all are tripping. Girl, I feel like somebody threw me into like a swimming pool and said sink or swim. Which one? What you about to do? Because the way these quotes are whipping my... What? Girl, you need a trust fund to fund a wedding. Like 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Somebody I saw on TikTok today said the average cost of a wedding nowadays is $75,000. Wrap it up.
I'm a 2026 bride. Me and my fiance just had a discussion about where we're at in regards to wedding costs. And we're both trying to figure out, how do we get to this number? It's like you can't even have like the most basic wedding without spending at least $30,000.
The total right now is $61,198.23. Yeah, this is really like the tip of the iceberg, I feel like, because this doesn't include like my dress. I want to do a second dress, my fiance's tux, speakers, as I mentioned, transportation, some of those like other details. So
Y'all, these are insane prices. And I'd love to hear from you guys. How much did you spend on your wedding, for those of you who are married? Or for those brides, how much are you looking to spend on your wedding? And grooms too. The average wedding cost is $36,000, okay? That's not a little bit of money. That's a lot of money. But whenever you get into some of the bigger cities like New York, New Jersey, California, those prices spike up. I mean, they're saying it can reach $87,000, but it's clear from some of these videos it can go way beyond that. I saw some where people were spending $150 on their weddings. It is insane. We're going to be jumping into some of the ways we can save money, but I wanted you guys to hear that the average cost. You know, we've got some extremes there, but guys, these prices are insane, and it's not a great way to start out a marriage with spending exorbitant amounts of money and going into debt.
Can someone please fill me in on how freaking much weddings cost? Because we just got our wedding budget back for 200 people. Not even for my dream wedding. I'm not actually like even picking the stuff that I want to pick. Like, I'm trying to be very budget conscious. $68,000. $68,000. I've been saving for college. We have 30 grand for this wedding, and I knew that wasn't going to get me my dream wedding, but I thought I would be able to get like at least something. That's stupid for one day. I'm literally about to elope, and also I actually, like, last night when I found this out, I cut our guest list in half because I'm like, this is stupid. Like, I feel like this is like not a mature decision, financially responsible to make. But is this just how much weddings cost? Like, can someone fill me in on how much you're spending on your wedding? Because I feel ridiculous right now, and I feel like an idiot. Who would ever spend that much money on a day?
Well, clearly a lot of people are spending that much money on a day, but you're not an idiot. First of all, there's a lot of emotions that go into getting married, right? And little girls, ever since I mean, ever since you're 3 years old, right? You're thinking about your wedding day. So I don't think that it's wrong to want to have this beautiful, fancy wedding. But whenever you start looking at the cost, maybe it's not so practical, and maybe it doesn't make as much sense as you thought. There was actually a study that showed that there is a inverse correlation to how much you spend on your wedding and how successful your marriage is. So there was a CNN article, and they talk about this, that couples who spend more than $20,000 on their wedding, which is below average, have a divorce rate at 1.6 times the folks who spend between $5,000 and $10,000, which is amazing. And then folks who spend $1,000 or less, which it sounds impossible to us, like a courthouse wedding, they have an even lower incident of divorce. So keep that in mind, that just because you spend a lot of money and have your special day doesn't mean that you're going to have a great marriage. And really, what's more important? Is it the person that you're spending the rest of your life with? Or is it the 5 hours that your friends and family are going to spend with you? And also, most of those people, I think about the people who are at my wedding. There was a small group of those people who I see several times a year. The rest of those, many of them I haven't seen since my wedding. And so think about that. You don't need to impress anybody.
This is just another random bridal thought today. We do all this stuff. We're in so much debt, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of debt. For some of us, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. And I just got so excited because my first item has been bought for my wedding registry. I'm going to be paying this off for the next 10 years, but at least I got a $250 wine fridge.
She got that wine fridge, all right. That's what a lot of people, it seems like it's the way to justify the larger guest list is, hey, they're all going to be getting us gifts, and we're already paying for the venue, so might as well add another $50 to $200 plate, depending on where you're at.
You're going into $50,000 worth of debt for your wedding. Yeah, it's important to us. You make $70,000 a year. This would be almost your entire annual salary. Look, we've waited a long time for this. It matters. Dude, I am not saying don't get married. I'm saying don't start your marriage off with a bill you can't pay. We'll figure it out. How? Dude, $50K is not just numbers. It's years. We're not being reckless, okay? We've ran the numbers on what we need, and this is what it is. This is gonna follow you for a very long time. So what are you suggesting? We just skip the wedding? No, I'm saying do it differently. Do it more scrappy, smaller. Save for a year. Just delay it for a year. What's a year? You'll have tons of money saved up, and you'll be way better off if you do something like that. It won't feel the same. It will still feel special, even if it's not right this second or it's not the biggest thing ever. But if you do something like this, it could jeopardize both of your financial futures for years to come. We've just always wanted the moment to feel big, And it will, man. It's still your wedding. You really don't want to remember that as a day you regret.
Definitely don't want to remember that as a day you regret. And many people don't start regretting that until those bills start coming. Especially if you're using credit cards, really, really bad decision, because that's going to put additional strain on your marriage. And the number one reason for divorce is money. So why add more strain to your marriage when really that big day is about you and her? It's not about anybody else that's there. So if you're doing anything to impress any of those people that are coming to your wedding, change your mindset right now. That's how you make gains. You change your mindset. You think about you and your future spouse and how you set yourself up for financial success so that you can really enjoy the moments that you build together and not be having to spend more time at work to pay off extra debt. Something to think about.
If there is one financial regret I have in my almost 30 years of living, it would be spending $30,000 on a wedding. The wedding industry has all of us girlies in a chokehold, making us feel like we need to prove something to everyone around us and have this massive, expensive, beautiful wedding. I fell under that and became brainwashed and went from eloping and having something casual and under $5K to having this $30K wedding in San Francisco with only 50 people. At the end of the day, I look back at this and I think about how much of that money I could have used for something so much more valuable, like a honeymoon, investing, paying for our businesses that we're trying to grow, anything. I know it's wedding season right now, and I just want to put this out into the universe, and if you're seeing this, it's probably a sign. If your wedding planning isn't about you and your spouse and it's about everybody else, don't do it. Just elope and save their money.
Boom. Just elope and save your money. I actually recommend that. I think my wife and I joked about it after our wedding. We didn't spend much on our wedding. We spent $11,000 and we did it pretty scrappy. So we got married in a church. We found a venue that would allow us to cater in food. So we did it buffet style. We had barbecue. We got our cake from Publix. So we had them make us a small tiered cake, and then we had sheet cake for the rest of it. And that was we saved thousands of dollars just on the cake from doing it that way. I've got some tips for you guys because there's a lot of ways that you can save money. And we're going to jump in and talk about some of those tips just to help you guys make gains as you're potentially planning a wedding, or as your kids are thinking about getting married, or not to each other, that'd be weird. But also, if you have friends or family who are getting married, you can share some of these. First off, choose a low-cost venue. The venue is the biggest part of that. And some of these venues they're not that great. They force you into buying things through them. Like if you want alcohol, you've got to do it through them. If you want food, you got to do it through them. If you want chairs, you've got to do it through them. Chairs should be included, hopefully. Try to get that. The venue we found included chairs and tables. We just had to pay extra for tablecloths. So what did we do? We paid for our own tablecloths. For flowers, we paid for our own flowers. We got fake flowers. We made these beautiful bouquets. My wife and her mom made them. And we allowed people to take those home as a wedding favor from the table. So they helped us clean up. It was great. You can do your wedding and the reception, so the ceremony and the reception, in the same place. This is like if you can be okay with not having some kind of barn style place or some place by a lake or some historic venue, do it in a church. Most churches have some kind of reception hall, and they will normally let you use those for next to nothing. And you can beautify those up. They all have tables and chairs, and that will save you $10,000. Churches are cheap. You saw the girl in Chicago. The church was only charging $1,500. Then she was paying $40,000. You can rewind the video and go look at her list of what she paid for everything. $40,000 for the venue. It's psycho. You can also look at off-peak dates. So my wife and I, we got married in October of 2010, and the goal date was 10-10-10. And so if we wanted to do that date, it was going to cost 3 times as much. Well, we got married 2 weeks later and, saved money because we did that. Because all the venues were charging more because everybody wanted to get married on 10-10-10. And there's normally some kind of date like that every year, every couple of years. That's easier to remember that people want to do. For the food and drink cost, limit your guests. Okay, you don't need to invite your best friend from kindergarten. If you aren't still talking, don't invite them. Pare down your list. Like if there are family members that are like distant cousins, but your parents want to invite them because they were childhood friends. Well, if your parents are paying for the wedding, cool, invite them. But if they're not, pare that wedding guest list down. It's going to help you tremendously. Buffet or family style, like I said earlier, doing the DIY catering. There's a lot of families where you have somebody in your family they make some banging food, and they would love to do it for you at what it costs to make that food. So do that kind of thing. Nobody's going to look down on you. Have you ever been to a wedding and you go, hey, I think they went cheap on the food? Like, what a jerk. Like, nobody talks like that. Nobody. So quit thinking they're going to talk like that about you. They don't care. And if somebody's got something to say, they're not your friend anyway. Don't do alcohol. Like, I know a lot of people like to drink, and sure, it's fun, but it costs when you add alcohol to a wedding, It's so much more money. So, alcohol is expensive. I've been to some weddings with people I went to college with where they didn't do the open bar with liquor and stuff. They just bought a bunch of cases of beer and had them in a cooler, and they save money doing that way. However you want to do it, just think about ways that you can skirt the norm a little bit and cut some costs. The next one for the bridal party, for me and my groomsmen, I did suits instead of tuxes, and I bought them a suit. So instead of paying for everybody to rent a tux, you can find suits for similar cost at a place like Men's Warehouse, things like that. And sometimes you can find deals, and we were able to get all of our suits for less than $500. And they got something that they could take home with them and reuse, which is great. Get a friend or family member to do your hair and makeup. That's a good way to save money. You can also buy pre-owned or sample dresses. And some of the dress stores, they'll sell you the samples cheaper whenever it's like into season or close out, whatever. And then you can buy used ones on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, on eBay. I'm sure there's tons of places. We talked about a little bit about some of the stuff that like I did with flowers, but you can also you can skip the wedding favors. A lot of people spend a lot of money on wedding favors. Who keeps that stuff? You can have some little cards printed if you want, but no, I don't think anybody keeps that stuff. Maybe they do. You might have a crazy aunt who keeps everything who's going to keep that, but most people toss that as soon as they get home. They might keep it for a day or two and keep it on their refrigerator or whatever, the little card. But nobody keeps that stuff. Don't spend a lot of money on it. Digital invitations are another good way to do. Like we did the Knot, and that was a cool website back in the day. I think they're still doing it. We hired a friend of ours who had a beautiful voice to be a singer at our wedding, and we didn't do a DJ. And so she had some experience with doing the MC stuff. So we had her do that. We did a playlist. I know people say, don't do a playlist. Well, it was great. She sang the songs. We had our dance lined up, all that stuff was on the playlist, and it was great. I have no complaints about it. I'm sure that it would have been nicer if we had a $5,000 DJ, but we weren't going for that. And I'm sure there's tons of other things, but really just think through all of your expenses and think, is this necessary? When we got done with our wedding, I'll tell you what, I can't remember half the people who were there. Okay. I remember through the pictures. Get good pictures. That is one thing I would say that we do really cherish. We had a great photographer. She wasn't expensive. But she took amazing photos. We had seen her work. We knew that she took amazing photos. So look for somebody like that. Look for somebody who's getting started, somebody who will do a good job, and save money that way. But that's the kind of thing that I would say don't skimp on, because that's one thing that you will have for like your memories. But the day goes by so fast. It's like a 5-hour blur, and you're going to be remembering it through your videographer or your photos. So get somebody to do a good job on the photos, save money everywhere else. And you can even do, there's people doing stuff like the courthouse wedding or courthouse marriage, and then do a little small party in their family backyard with their closest friends to celebrate. And that's a way you can really get out for less than $1,000 and have a great time with your friends. So hopefully you learned something today. It is wedding season, so wanted to do this video to help everybody out as you might be thinking through some of this stuff, or as you're thinking about getting engaged. But remember, always make gains, save that money and invest it. And that way, as you're looking back on your life, you're not going, man, I really just went crazy. You're saying, I made gains in my life. I did the smart things to prepare myself for the future. I didn't set my family up for disappointment because of our financial situation, and I didn't put my marriage through unnecessary hardship. So if you've watched this video through now, thank you for watching. I would like to ask you to like and subscribe. We're making content like this. I'm releasing videos twice a week. So if you like content like this, please recommend it to a friend or family member also. And make gains and have a great day. Thanks for joining.